Hey everybody, and welcome to the stream. Hope you've all had a good Monday. And it's Martin Luther King Day, so I'm sure many of you have had the day off of school or the day off of work. So hopefully you've been doing something fun all day. I actually had work because my job is not kind of a normal job. When people are at home, it's very easy for me to do my work. So I did have to go to work today, but just got home, had dinner, and decided to play a little bit of Magic tonight. So the idea this evening was to try the same list that I've been running with Spell Queller and Teferi. It's been a pretty nice synergy so far. But I started thinking about the role that Time Warp could play in this particular build. In other builds, without Teferi, Time Warp didn't feel amazing, but the idea, I guess, now is that if Teferi is shutting off any potential interaction, if we get the Time Warp pieces in place, we can just go off and the opponent can't really do anything. Like, if we have an Eternal Witness and the Time Warp and draw the Ephemerate, we can start doing it. Maybe the opponent would like to bolt or Fatal Push the Eternal Witness, but they won't be able to do that because Teferi's stopping them. So hopefully that synergy actually pays off, but that's the thought. I had trimmed a Soulherder to add a Blade Splicer as another value 3-drop that we could ramp into. But the Blade Splicer seemed like the most flex card, so I just trimmed the Blade Splicer and added in the Singleton Time Warp. So that's the idea. Sideboard's still the same. I'm just going to play some Qs, I think, tonight. Still not exactly sure about the precise composition of the deck that I want to be on, and I don't really want to lock myself into a league right now. Like if I play and immediately hate Time Warp for some reason, although I've played with the card before and it's fine, even though I don't love it. It's nice with Qs, you can just sort of adjust the deck as you go along. Lower level of commitment, even though the expected value is a little bit less with Qs than with leagues. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to find an opponent for Q. And I guess while I'm waiting for that, I can just sort of go back and look at the list a bit for any of you guys who are with me. Let's see, sideboard 4 Celestial Purges. It's supposed to handle any kind of mid-range strategy, any kind of burn or prowess decks that run all those red creatures. Purge just sort of deals nicely with them. Against mid-range, it kills, obviously, Death Shadow, Gurmag Anglers, Liliana of the Veil, Liliana Last Hope, Renin 6. It can kill an attacking or an activated Raging Ravine. It can kill a Plague Engineer. So it does a lot of stuff. So I have gradually gone up on the purges until I've reached the maximum of 4. And 4 has been feeling really good. I've got 2 Stonehorns and 2 Worships. The effect that they have of stopping the opponent's attacks or making it so that their attacks don't really do anything, like with Worship, is really powerful against creature decks, but they're each good in certain spots. Like Stonehorn is really good against Infect because it stops them from actually attacking at all, whereas Worship is terrible against Infect because Worship cares about loss of life and not poison counters, right? Against Burn, Stonehorn doesn't really matter because it prevents them from attacking, but it doesn't do anything about lightning bolts. Whereas Worship does. Worship just stops lightning bolts. So Worship much better against Burn. Stonehorn much better against Infect. So because of the differences in different matchups, I've got 2 and 2 instead of like 4 Worships or 4 Stonehorns. 2 Ceremonious Rejections. It's a nice flexible counter spell, very powerful at 1 mana, really easy to recycle with Eternal Witness and Ephemerate, and just super strong against any kind of Tron deck or various Eldrazi or Artifact decks. Disdainful Stroke, really good against Titans. I don't know why it's taking so long to find an opponent here, but it is. Let's go back to the list. Disdainful Stroke, really good against Titans, really good against Tron decks. And Pithing Needle, super versatile. You can occasionally get an opponent, if they have a fetch land out and you're playing Pithing Needle, you're going to name, I don't know, some Planeswalker that they haven't played yet. And they let it resolve and they don't crack their fetch. You can name that fetch if you feel like it. Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, any of those guys that happen to be sitting on the battlefield. If you feel like basically blowing up a land is going to be good for you. But in general, just not any tricks involved. Pithing Needle has been kind of an all-star lately. It's really good against Amulet Titan. You can name Engineered Explosives, and then they basically can never remove it. They can't crack Engineered Explosives, killing any of your creatures. So good in that matchup, and good against all the artifact decks, all the Urza decks. You can name pretty much anything in their deck with Pithing Needle. So still waiting for an opponent here. We found one. Okay, very nice. So I'm going to resize the window in just a second. I won the die roll. Nice. All right. So I'm going to be on the play. And got good cards, but we don't have any 2-drops. We don't have a Noble Hierarch to like ramp us into a 3-drop. I actually can't play any of the cards in our hand right now. So even though all the cards are really good cards, I think I have to mulligan. Pretty sure I have to mulligan. Against like a control deck, this is almost there. Since Teferi's so good and we've got a Force of Negation. But it's not good enough. I have to mulligan. This is better. Not amazing, but it's better. Just have to think about our lands for a second. Probably blue-green, and then a second forest is okay because we've got the Witness here, and I'll just pitch one of the Vistas. And seems like thinning the deck is probably okay, so I'll start with the Vista. I feel like I might have played against this opponent kind of recently. Hey there, come back to Earth. Welcome to the stream, good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. I just started this first game here. Had to mulligan down to 6. Okay, opponent with the Scalding Tarn. Don't think I really want to draw another land in this spot. We currently don't have access, we're not going to have access to white mana, which is kind of a bummer. But at the time, for the time being, we don't have any white spells, so it's sort of okay. So come back to Earth. This list is the Teferi Spell Queller list, but I brought the single Time Warp back into the deck. So I was explaining earlier the idea with bringing the Time Warp back is that Greater Gargadon. So immediately with the crazy matchups. Anyhow, playing Time Warp with Teferi is kind of cool because if we get the pieces for the combo, well, there's a white spell, so we're going to need some white mana at some point. So if the opponent goes for like Electro Dominance, I can counter it with Force. Electro Dominance is an instant, right? Which I can't remember, honestly. I think it's an instant. I think it is, because people were talking about like instant speed, Thoughtseize, and stuff like that. So they're going to pass. They have double red up, and I can't cast Force of Negation on my turn anyway, so I'm just going to tap out for this thing. I'm playing snow lands and blue-green, so they're kind of likely to expect this. Get to return Vista with Witness. Yeah, good point, Mateo. But I guess I can't play the Vista until the next turn. But yes, I do have access to white mana. It's true. So I wish I had another blue card here, because they're obviously going to go for Electro Dominance and probably like make some Rhinos or something like that. No blue cards to pitch. Okay, Ancestral Visions could be worse. Could be worse. They can draw 3 cards. That's fine. Okay, 2 lands in a row. So now if we want to I can get the land back, but I don't really need it now. I guess I'll start by attacking. I kind of feel like I have to hold up Force here. Like, play the land here and pass and maybe get a Temple Garden, and then like hope that I draw into a blue card at some point and can start playing spells. Like playing a Witness here just to get a land back doesn't do much. So I can cast Force if they cast something and then cast Witness next turn to get back the Force. Hopefully draw into a blue card. Temple Garden, I was saying Temple Garden if they don't cast anything that I need to counter, but I think I might just get, because if they, I don't know, that was kind of a bad turn there. I should have probably cracked the land on my turn to not give them an opportunity to cast another Electrodominance. But if I crack this and they're expecting Force of Negation, they can just go for another Electrodominance. Want to play Steam Vents tapped. Okay, Serum Visions. I potentially should have countered that, just because the play is probably to get back the Force from the graveyard. Oh well. So we're hoping to draw a blue card here. I think I am going to get a Temple Garden, though. Drawing a lot of lands. If they do play Rhinos, we can do like Path to Exile, Ewit, get back Path to Exile. So I'm pretty much just running back the same thing as last turn. Pretty slow clock right now, but there's not a whole lot more I can be doing at the moment. If they're thinking about bolting the Coatl, like that's sort of fine with me. Okay, Gargadon continues to tick down. So Silence and Silence and Teferi. So cast Silence on their upkeep or their draw step or whatever. They still get their main phases, they still get their attack steps, they still get to activate Planeswalkers. The Silence doesn't seem that amazing to me. Yeah, this is not happening. All right, so now we're going to draw a blue card, and we're going to get back the Force from the graveyard. There it is. All right. So, yeah, I guess I just have to hold this Coiling Oracle for the time being. Oh, that doesn't work. Let me think about how I want to tap my lands here. If I play green, green, blue, I don't think it matters too much. Green, green, yeah, I'll just play this Forest for now. Yeah, but playing Silence on turn one is kind of like vapor snagging, you know, your opponent's one drop. It's just not like that strong of a play. Okay, so as I said, I'm just going to pass the turn with the blue card in hand here. Right. Next turn, we can play the Oracle and just hold up Hardcast Force of Negation. Yeah, that's going to happen from time to time. That's fine. You got it, opponent. Currently ahead on time by a few seconds, so glad to see that. Nope. All right, well, Hierarch. We get to attack for 2, I guess. So now it's a 7-turn clock. So Warp is much better finisher. We don't have a lot of turn 1 plays. Yeah, but we don't need to jam our deck with a lot of like suboptimal turn 1 cards, just for the sake of it. Okay, opponent is suspending an Ancestral Visions. We've exiled 2 Electro Dominances. They've got some stuff in their graveyard, but I don't think we really care about it. 4 cards in hand on their side of the table. Hierarch is fine. Not amazing, but we don't have a lot to work with here. Seems like the opponent's draw is a little bit clunky as well. Yeah, but cards that are like particularly good, like against particularly Snapcaster, I don't know. It doesn't give you a turn against burn because they just throw their spells at you during your turn, and they still attack you, right? Like, okay, Finale is probably going to get me here. So I guess I'm hoping for, well, I don't even know. Let's see. Ancestral Visions is going to draw 3 more cards. Electro Dominance for 0 is going to let them put one of the cards that they draw with Ancestral Vision, no S, straight into play. So maybe it's some Rhinos, maybe it's drawing more cards, maybe it's balance. Yeah, this is pretty rough. So they're going to sack their lands. I'm going to need to draw a fetch that can get me white, and then I can deal with the Gargadon, and then we're back to the beginning, basically, except they have an Ancestral Visions on suspend. Actually, I can float white here, and the Gargadon's, I guess it's going to come in on their upkeep, right? Choose 2 lands that you control. Yeah, this one and this one. Okay. Done. Sounds good. They didn't sack all their lands, so I didn't need to float white, I don't think so. All right, they played a land. They've got 3 cards in hand. They're a minute and a half behind me on the clock. Okay, so Gargadon's coming off right now, off suspend right now. Right. Okay. So Gargadon dealt with. Just have to keep drawing good stuff now, I guess. Maybe some of my snakes. Have another Electro Dominance into something good. Well, Hierarch is something. It can attack, it can make mana. Come back to Earth. I did see the blue-red list. It looks pretty fun. There was another, Stoneheart made a mono blue list without vials. Both of the lists, I think, play Cryptic Command and play sets of Vendilion Click, Crashing Footfalls. Okay. So we're gonna scoop soon, but not quite yet. We've got, I think it's like, what, 8 coming at me? Got 3 more turns, 2 more draw steps. I can crack this fetch without changing the clock. I guess the idea is, well, that changes the clock as well. That's unfortunate. I can always chump something with Hierarch. Kind of hoping to draw into Time Warp, and then I don't think I can get there here, but I don't have enough mana for Overloaded Winds. So just taking 8 here. Opponents had a lot of good cards. They had 3 Electro Dominances. They've drawn a bunch of extra with all the Ancestral Visions. So get a Hallowed Fountain here. Yeah, Force isn't going to do it. I guess if I can block here and stay alive, but then I don't really have any draws that keep me in the game, so I will concede. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll just take one more draw step. Opponent's like a minute, 2 minutes behind me, so even if it only takes like another 10 seconds, 15 seconds off their clock. You know, this game has taken 9 or 10 minutes, so... Yeah, it's definitely hard to come back from. Particularly when they had like Ancestral Visions on suspend, they get to draw a whole bunch of extra cards. So I'm going to bring in what? I guess I'm going to bring in the Worships, right? They seem pretty good. This guy's trying to kill me by attacking. Exciting magic, I know. Forcing the opponent to waste 45 seconds on their clock. In a Q match, should probably just scoop, but forcing the semi-slow opponent to actually win the game. Yeah, I got them with that force. That's pretty sick. Okay, Finale casting more bolts, more foot. They have to stack all this stuff. Look at this. I mean, their clock, it's taking like another minute off. Footfalls first, then Lightning Bolt. You got it, opponent. All right. So let's check out the sideboard. So Purge, they don't really play red permanents. Only play red spells, so that's not great. As Foretold is not an activated ability, just gives them the ability to... Actually, Teferi is bonkers in this matchup. I forgot about that, right? Isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty good, right? Because they can't cast anything with Electro Dominance. So Teferi's going to stay in. Disdainful Stroke, they don't really cast a lot of big spells. I guess what happens with Restore Balance... They cast that as part of... Does Restore Balance have a casting? It doesn't have a casting cost. It's just 0, so I can't cast it. Right. True. Teferi is the all-star in here, right? So I think preventing them from attacking seems solid, so I can bring in those 4 cards, or potentially some number of them, figure out what I might want to sideboard out. Forces seem great, although they can do Electro Dominance on my turn, so maybe Force is not so super great. Spell Queller seems live against Electro Dominance and such. Actually, against kind of all of their suspend stuff has like CMC 0, so can cut some paths, right? Like singular creature removal spells are not amazing against like multiple rhinos, I guess, and gonna look maybe to fetch some basics so that we can turn on Death Touch. Hermit seems It's kind of our easiest way to win a game, and if they, well, whatever. I guess if they wipe our lands, I don't know. They're both 5-drop win cons. I don't know which one's better, but I can trim one of them. And let's see. Maybe one worship? I don't know. Well, they can get rid of Stonehorn with a balance, but I don't think it cares about enchantment, so maybe I'll just trim one of the Stonehorns and try it like that. We didn't really get to do what this deck wants to do in that game. Like, we didn't see Teferi, we didn't see Spell Queller. I had to mulligan. This is way, way better. It's got no counter spells, which is a little bit scary. But we can't mulligan these kinds of hands. I mean, if they get to like Electro Dominance into like Footfalls or Balance right away, then it's gonna suck. I don't think that balance does hit enchantments. You guys can check that for me if you want, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I think it's creatures, lands, and cards in hand. Something like that. Okay, opponent suspends Ancestral Vision, so come on Teferi one time. I love it. They're going to force this, I just know it. But I cannot resist. All right, the last time I cast a turn 2 Teferi against Electro Dominance, I lost. It was ridiculous. They forced, I don't know what they did. They did something stupid. So yeah, that was a pretty good top deck. I'm going to fill up my water. Just 1 second. I'll let the opponent... Actually, let the opponent take their turn, and then I'll go fill up my water. Kind of thirsty. So we can keep Teferi on the board until Ancestral Vision, no S, until it wants to resolve, then that would be pretty sick. But maybe opponent has like double bolt or something. Come on, go for Electro Dominance. I don't think this is going to work the way that they want it to work. Love it. So yeah, let me get some water, 1 sec. Well, that's what happens when you keep a hand with good cards but lacking like the card that you really need, right? Then the deck is just full of all the cards that you need. So let's see here. I wouldn't mind just Eternal Witnessing for Flooded Strand. Keep hitting my lands. And then I can play a Stonehorn at some point. Alternatively, I could play Coiling Oracle and start ephemerating it. That could hit me lands as well. But if I do Eternal Witness, Ephemerate, I can sort of start the loop earlier while the opponent is presumably struggling a little bit. So yeah, that seems pretty good. I'll just play the Eternal Witness. Maybe get a basic Plains. Or maybe even just a Temple Garden. I don't know. I think double green on the board would be pretty good. Oh. So Hierarch, just you can see how great it is, right? Let me cast my 3 drops on turn 2. Let me get back a land from the graveyard to continue hitting my land drops. So yeah, I can pass comfortably here because the opponent can't respond to my ephemerates. All right. Yeah, this is unfortunate. So... Oh, they don't have a Gargadon. Let's see what they have to play. Crashing Footfalls. Well, okay, we do have Stonehorn, which we can play. This is okay. And then we have like crazy ephemerates. So I guess oh, you know what? I can this is awesome. I can crack the Flooded Strand, get a land, and then just get back the land from the graveyard. Pretty slick. Oh no, wait, Ephemerate? Yeah, that's right. Okay, Ephemerate from the graveyard. And Soulherder. So yeah, that's gonna work well with Stonehorn. We just have to prevent them from wiping the board, and I think we should be good. I could just bounce one of these rhinos. Also, not really. I'm just gonna keep ticking this guy up. Stonehorn is gonna take care of the rhinos for the time being. Okay, that's about all we can do for now. So they're missing this attack step. We just have to keep track with Stonehorn. Sometimes they can add up. All right, we got one more turn to go with Ancestral Vision. See if we can fade any kind of removal against Teferi. The opponent is not attacking. So now, I don't know about sideboarding out Hermit. Seems like a pretty good win condition, but... Well, Vision can't get cast because Teferi is on the board, right? So I was just saying I hope that they can't remove Teferi somehow. Are they going to try? Okay, floating, restore balance. It's going to make all of us... Whoa, that was quite loud. Let me mute that. So they're going to do restore balance here. And holding priority, so they're going to sack some stuff. Still going to have Teferi. Does this mean that they can't... No, they're casting restore balance just with As Foretold, so it's going to get cast, right? Oh, Trogdor, thank you so much for subscribing. That's, check what balance hits now? I mean, I think... Oh, yeah, I can check what it hits. It hits, like I said, I think it hits creatures, lands, and cards in hand. I'm not sure, though. Number of lands, creatures, and discards. So I can get a land back with Eternal Witness if I want to burn one of my ephemerates. No, I think if the ephemerates are going to let me claw my way back into... Oh, but I have no lands. But I have a Hierarch, so that's pretty good, right? I do need to get this land so that I can play it like a Coiling Oracle next turn, right? So I guess I should burn one of my ephemerates. Maybe they can bolt... Oh, but they can't bolt in response because I have a Teferi. Okay, get back my land. And yeah, we can at least cast a Coiling Oracle next turn. It's not bad after like getting board wiped. Sacrifice all my lands. Okay, done. Thank you, Magic. Sacrifice all creatures. Done. You could just do this for me, right? Oh, God. Hierarch goes away, of course. That's ridiculous. And I have to discard down, so... All right, Soulherder, peace out. And Ephemerate. Wow. Okay, so Teferi, let's go. Oh, my God. I chose... Oh, my God. All right, this is just a cue, guys. I hate that. That's like what happens with Liliana of the Veil. Like, you have to choose the cards that you want to throw in the graveyard. So I clicked on the cards I wanted, and they got thrown in the graveyard. All right, you got me, opponent. I needed to draw, I guess, a force to avoid any of this happening. It doesn't matter what cards are in my hand because now they've got these rhinos. Oh, but they can't cast it, so fine. They can't cast it. Yeah, that was ridiculous. So now I'm left with the 2 cards I don't want. Oh my god. Oh, I even ephemerated the Eternal Witness specifically to get the land back. All right, maybe the opponent's just going to time out of this match. Opponent's asking me if he can't play Footfalls due to timing from Teferi, and I'm gonna like slow roll him here. I believe that's the case. Yes. I mean, he could have learned this earlier. But he does have Gargadon, so every land, it's going to keep ticking down. This is rough. I guess I could bounce it if I get to tick up Teferi fast enough. I could bounce it with Teferi. Well, there's that Quelling Oracle. Oh, man. All right, well, just keep passing the turn. Oh, God. I could bounce As Foretold as well. But I should probably... Well, I don't know about this, though, because if I bounce this thing, I have to do the math, because he's going to go down to 5. This thing's going to come down with 9 power and attack with haste. I kind of need to... like, I don't know. The thing that's going to kill me is Gargadon. Like, you know, Ancestral Visions aren't going to kill me. Oh, he can't. God, thank you guys. Yeah, it's like my team here, like my bench. I'm pointing to my phone because that's where I have my chat here. Yes, of course, it totally blanks it. Thank you very much for pointing that out to me. And I get to draw an extra card. All right, got to get my head on straight. This is awesome. All right, now I have a chance here. The Ancestral Vision just stayed. All right, the opponent scooped. Thank you guys. So I've been learning like every match, like things about Teferi, and he just shuts down all of the suspend cards. I need to get some more emotes for you guys to use, like a Greater Gargadon emote. So obviously Teferi was ridiculous there. So what else could have been good? I kind of liked what I was doing. Hermit is just going to get wiped away, like with balance, so I think just keeping in the dorks is fine. Time Warp is just... I don't know. What would be better than Time Warp? Yeah, Teferi's a really good card. Like, somebody was asking me about Jace today in the Discord, and... I feel like I would definitely run the 4th Teferi before I ran a single Jace, just because the static ability, making opponents only play at sorcery speed, is so strong for our deck. You know, you've got the synergy with Spell Queller, but then just makes all of your ephemerates, like Slam Dunk, counter spells. So I think I'll just run it back the way that I just played it. Levin, what are you saying about Stonehorn? You think that Stonehorn might be, the second Stonehorn might be better than Time Warp? All right, I'll go with that. I mean, it is an extra mana to get to Time Warp. And we'll run it back like that. It's just 1 card difference. Stonehorn is definitely relevant. All right, opponent chose... this is rough. I've got a force, which is pretty nice. I've got 2 lands. Spell Queller seems pretty bomb against like Electro Dominance. I can counter the first just by pitching. We can't cast the bird yet, but we've got a lot of lands in our deck. I can cast Ephemerate. I can't cast any of the snakes at this point. It's a very defensive hand, but if I draw one fetch, you know, I'm off to the races basically. And I think I have like 10 fetches or something in the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then all of the green sources. No, I don't like it very much either, but it's got a force, right? Like they can keep one money spell basically in their opening hand, and if I counter it, although they can cast their Electro Dominance on my turn. I'm on the draw. Yeah, no, I'm not sure to keep either, but remember, like, we can cast one spell here with force, and then we only need one of any type of land in the next, like, 3 turns to cast. Well, we can ramp into, like, green would be so sick here. I mean, we mulligan sort of okay. I think I mulligan just because we've got those bomb like Teferis to mulligan to, you know? Like, yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Can't contain myself here. So yeah. I think I'm going to get like Temple Garden turn 1, Hierarch, and pitch the Flooded Strand, I guess. All right, well, opponent mulliganed as well. Well, you know, I mulligan because we have the potential like draw to Teferi, but running 5 mana dorks, we're 50% to get one in the opening hand, and there's that land is exactly what I wanted to see there. I was a little bit afraid of pitching the 3rd land. Now we just have to fade a turn 2 like Rhino. Turn 2 Rhino is what kills us basically, which makes me think maybe I want to get a basic here. Honestly, yeah, I'll just get basic forest. If I play Hierarch, I can still play blue and play Coatl, even if they like Lightning Bolt the Hierarch. I can't get a basic planes with this, but again, Hierarch makes white mana. I'm just trying to think. Opponent's on 8.5 minutes. We're on just about 11. Opponent is thinking really hard if they want to do something in response to my Misty Rainforest. Like, they might have a free Stifle that they can play, or maybe they're timing out or something, meaning that their computer isn't working well. So Teferi carried the last game. We're hoping that he's going to carry this game. I think basics with Coatl is sort of the way to go here. Although, if Hierarch gets blown up, I can get blue and then white with that land. Like, I'll get Temple Garden with the Misty Rainforest. This deck always has, like, the turn 2 Electro Dominant into something, right? It's like, they need to have 2 specific cards in hand, and they always have it. But would they play it on their turn? Like, it is an instant. Why don't they wait till my turn? I don't quite understand why they do it this way. All right, so they have the turn 2 Rhino. I can't defend Teferi now. This is a 3-turn clock. I can flash in a Coatl and kill one of their guys. Hope for another Coatl or a path or something. Or maybe I can just draw a path off the top with Coatl. Calling it now. Although maybe it's better for me to get a Hierarch out so that I can ramp into more plays. Just assume that I'm going to take 7 on this turn. I took out 2 paths. I didn't take out all the paths, so I'm still drawing to 1 path. Oh god. I guess yeah, I can if I kill one of oh my god, wait. Did I if I I don't have death touch yet, first of all. So I can't kill one of the rhinos, but I can bounce one of the rhinos with Teferi. So that's something to keep in mind. So so even if it's just bouncing one of the rhinos like just to not die, it seems reasonable. But I don't really want to block with Coatl here because it doesn't have death touch. So if I'm taking 8, I go to 11. Next turn I take 7, go down to 4. I mean, it's looking pretty grim, but I've won in worse situations, I guess, before. Hierarch leaves me with Snake. Not sure what that means. Oh my god. This is so unfair. Let me draw to a force, I guess, right now. Oh my god. Deck. Deck, thank you. Bounce 1, fetch a basic, then trade. Trogdor, what are you talking about? Bounce 1, fetch a basic, then trade. Keep Teferi. Well, Teferi's going to bounce 1 and go to... Well, anyhow, they can't attack. That's why I'm going to play Stonehorn right now. Oh, deck. Yes. This is getting better and better. Yeah, but I've got Stonehorn, so I can just chill for the time being. Can swing for 3 in the air. They're on 2 lands, so I don't even think I want to path right now. Like, they can't cast As Foretold for the time being. They missed a land drop. So now we can start Eternal Witnessing with Path to Exile. Hopefully just draw a Soulherder. That would be the sickest draw. Still got 2 of those left in the deck. Or just draw Worship. We've got outs. So maybe yeah, again, I don't think that I want to path now, right? Because if I path, I do want to thin the deck. So I think I'll get like green-white here. No, a basic, right? I think I'm just going to get a forest. Okay, another basic. So now we're in rough shape. Well, it is important because Stonehorn only works once right now. Opponent's attacking for 16. Gonna have access to 6 mana. Can path, Eternal Witness, get a path, play a path. They've only got 8. I kill 1. Can even block with Stonehorn. So, yeah, pathing on their turn seems okay, I guess. But I guess I have to path now. Teferi bounces a Rhino. Let's start with Teferi. If it diverts their attack, that's kind of a win for us. I can't chump. They have trample. I need to draw a worship, I think. So is opponent going to have double rhinos plus like remand or something here? Oh, they are not going to, okay, what? Killing my death touch. Yeah, okay, no response for that. I would like to be able to return my Stonehorn and play it again. It's not going to happen though. They're swinging for 12. I can block with Stonehorn. Yeah, but I'm not going to get the mana from the path right now, and I need to kill their rhinos so I don't die. So I think I'm going to do that right now. Actually, I can do it during their upkeep. Kind of stinks that I can't cast Witness right now, but it's all right. We'll make it happen. So they're finally going to have 3 mana, but hopefully just not on this turn. It's an interesting match, if nothing else. Opponent got pretty nutty stuff. I'm not going to path my Death Touch Snake so that I have 1 more mana. That doesn't make any sense. They're both attacking Teferi. This is pretty good for us, I think. I'm going to let Teferi take the hit, and then I'm just going to hopefully draw Ephemerate and start Stonehorning like crazy. I can go get Teferi again, make them go after Teferi. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Path seems important here, but Teferi bounces a Rhino as well. So I can play a Hierarch. I don't want to pay 2 life, I don't think. I can play an extra Hierarch if I pay 2 life. Maybe it's okay. I'll pay 2 life. Oh. Now the question is, am I blocking this Rhino? And I think the answer is no. If they have another bolt, sort of fine losing to a random bolt. Or am I? I think they're going after Teferi. I'm not going to attack right now. Well, let's see who they go after. If they go after my head, then I'm going to block the Rhino. As foretold, I'm sure. Be so sweet to have another blue spell. They're going to cast Balance now. Probably after the attack. Ah, man, it's so close. If Hierarch had been a blue spell that I drew to hold up for 4, so it just would have been the nuts, I guess. Oh, well, let's see. Yeah, opponent can just cast what they want here with As Foretold. It doesn't really do anything with Teferi. Oh god. This is so stupid. Why are they casting like this? An opponent has to discard 2 cards now? That's a weird play. I guess they just go for the win, right? They attack me now. I can't really block. Doesn't make sense if I block. Just need to rip, like, a path. Or, you know what? Like, oh my god, I should have done my lands differently. I should have... God, this is ridiculous. I'm going to now lose because I can't cast a Soulherder if I draw it. I kept double green. Well, no, it's fine. I kept it because of Eternal Witness. If I draw Eternal Witness, I can get back a land. Opponent's going after Teferi, and I have to let it resolve. I mean, I have to let the damage go through. Need to draw Ephemerate. It would be the best draw right now. Oh, that's so ridiculous that I don't have the lands to cast this. Again, I'm not going to block, so we can attack. Oh, but I have a blue spell that I can pitch, I guess, if they try to cast something. We still have 4 Ephemerates in the deck. We don't have another... Okay, we can force that. So, yeah, we need to draw Winds of Abandon or Ephemerate off the top to not die right away. Well, I got one more block, I guess, with this Stonehorn. Nope. Okay, well, now we can cast... am I blocking? Yeah, I am blocking. I don't love that Stonehorn is going to die here. Opponent could just draw Bolt. That's fine, too. All right. Death Touch would be nice here. Oh, man. Let's see. I can't Ephemerate at this point, so now it's just Winds, I guess. Or another Teferi would be good. Didn't get there. All right, well, it's a weird matchup. And the opponent did resolve. They did get 4 Rhinos out. On a mulligan to 6. Mulligan to 6, and then by like turn 3, I think they had 4 Rhinos. So anyhow, very interesting. Definitely a good matchup for Teferi. But I just got steamrolled in the last game. We hung on as well as I could, I think. So yeah, let's go ahead and wait. Wait for another opponent. Yeah, exactly, right? On the play would have been good. If I won game 1 instead of game 2, and I was on the play in game 3, would have been pretty gross with a turn 2 Teferi. So against that deck, Teferi's kind of the nuts, but I mean, what are the odds? I have to check, I guess, of having like 2 specific cards in hand with 2 red sources in the first 2 turns, because that's what they had. They had like Steam Vents, Electro Dominance, Crashing Footfalls, and then they had Finale of Devastation. Actually, if it was just 1 Crashing Footfalls, like we would have destroyed them that game. Like we dealt with the first 2 Rhinos really easily. It was just the 4 Rhinos that made it too difficult, I think. 11. I wasn't really backed up for mana that game, I don't think. The only my mana was perfect that game. There wasn't anything wrong with it. The only thing that I did wrong was when I had to sacrifice lands. I could have kept like white, blue, green instead of like the white, blue dual with 2 green lands. Like I was thinking more about getting Eternal Witness cast, but I should have been thinking about Teferi and Spell Queller and that kind of stuff. But the reason that I was getting basics at the beginning was to turn on Death Touch. Like the opponent actually had to burn a bolt on our snake. Like we would have died earlier in that game if we didn't fetch our basics, because the snake wouldn't have had Death Touch and they wouldn't have cared about it. So looks like the opponent take a little while here to join me. So let's look at the list. I did board out the paths. I don't know, like in hindsight, maybe we do want to keep in as much removal as possible. These guys were great. I wanted more Stonehorns and more Worships. those spells like Restore Balance are so awkward because they have huge effects, but they have no casting costs, so we can't counter them with Disdainful Stroke. That game when we, the game that we won there, Teferi was like ridiculously good. He stopped like Gargadon from being cast. He stopped Crashing Footfalls from getting recast after they wiped my board. So, okay, it looks like we found an opponent. And here we go. I'm on the draw. Sorry, I'm on the play. And let's hope for some good cards. This is weird, but I'm going to keep this. Ramp is important, and with 2 Hierarchs, I can start attacking for 2. Can protect one of them with Ephemerate or just draw into anything. Ephemerate is the best card in the deck. And Path slows down creature decks. Seems good to me. Force slows down. Opening hands can't have everything, so if they have a bunch of stuff that you like, you can keep. Okay, tapped Steam Vents. Don't think this is the same opponent. See, like that. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna play my Temple Gardens untapped and pass to the opponent. Now they cast that guy, and I quell the bejesus out of it. And yeah, now I draw Teferi and just lock him down, and that'll be the end of this game. All right, Coatl is pretty solid. Go ahead and attack. Oh, Did I want to play my other Hierarch? I probably did. I hope I don't lose by 1 point of damage. You know what? I want to play a land here, so I'm going to actually play Coatl now. And then I can play Hierarch. All right, so as long as we get through this turn, we should be pretty good. If they play another cost-reducing creature and they try to go off, I can just path it in response. All right, well, now it's just a question of whether they try to go off or not. Okay, looks like they're not, so I get to hold up Force next turn. And getting in the air for 4 seems pretty good. Double Force, really good. I could have ephemerated the Coatl here, but not super concerned with drawing extra cards at the moment. Now I have access to 5 mana. It's 1 Force, Path. They're going for repeal on my Hierarch. Seems fine. I guess they want to draw a card. The question is whether I want to path this Electromancer on their upkeep. I feel like I probably do. It's kind of what path is here for in this matchup. If they remand it, that's okay. They let it go. All right, so we dealt with 2 of their cost-reducing creatures. See if they have another one. Well, they do. That's pretty sick. Good for them. See if they try to go off now. They do not. So now I think I'll cast this Ephemerate. They can't cast like gifts in response. Another path is pretty solid. Ephemerate in this spot is not particularly good on Spell Queller, so Teferi is pretty awesome. But it would be shields down. It would be shields down because I don't have another blue card to pitch. No, I do. I have Force to pitch for Force. That's fine. Man, I'm drawing a lot of interaction. Again, not really thinking through whether I wanted to play Hierarch or not. Pretty sloppy. I'm just pretty sure that I didn't want to. I think I am going to go for Teferi and then path their Goblin Electromancer and then force something if I have to. So just bounce the Electromancer. That seems sort of okay. And they'll play it out again and try to go for something, and I can counter it. I kind of like the bounce and draw a card here. All right, well, we know one of the cards is Electromancer in their hand. They've got a handful of cards. So let's start by pathing this thing. Opponent probably has remand. That's what they're thinking about. Which is bad for us, because if they remand force, we're going to get wrecked. Oh, but it's fine. I have Teferi, of course. So let them do what they want to do. I'm just going to counter the business spell. And oh, but you know what, man? If they just grape shot, it's rough. Let's see. Maybe I don't know if I want to counter like. So just counter this now, and they can't really cast anything off of red mana. One red mana, because they don't have the cost reducer anymore. So they played it out, and I pathed it again, so it's not in their hand. I don't love burning both forces, but I think I'm going to do it. And that's it. I'm going to bolt something, or what? Okay, that was pretty sick. That was amazing. Because now it's Spell Queller time with Teferi, and the game is effectively over. That's what Synergy does. Don't know if any of you guys are still here with me watching, but things are about to get pretty dirty with Spell Queller. I think this is fine. Unless they have their payoff spell in hand, in which case I want to prevent them from casting a whole bunch of spells. But they don't have a cost reducer, and if they play one, I can path it. I think I like spell quelling this. Okay, opponent just scooped. Yeah. Oh my god, spell queller. Why are you so good? I just feel like people have been talking in the last couple days about like this new elementals approach with Risen Reef and Master of Waves. I just feel like the deck doesn't need more beef. Like it seems like it needs more ways to interact. Spell Queller is a beater, right? It's a body that flies. It gets buffed by Noble Hierarchs. It's like a win condition that also counters spells and just like has ridiculous synergy with Teferi. So, all right. So in this matchup, the Disdainful Strokes come in, and not much else, I think, honestly. Celestial Purge, not good enough, like against just Electromancer. Worship is sort of okay, but so Grape Shot, Teferi doesn't affect Grape Shot. It just puts the copies onto the stack. They can still be cast and resolved and all that stuff. So don't need Pithing Needle. Yeah, we don't have a lot of good cards to bring in, but fortunately we're pretty well set up against them. So I'm gonna keep in everything that's interactive. The paths are fine. The Winds of Abandon are fine, particularly against Empty the Warrens. Venser might not be the best. He can bounce lands, and that's a win condition, I guess. Time Warp combo. Post sideboarding, these matchups can go pretty long, so I kind of like the Time Warp combo as an option. D-Stroke hits Gifts Ungiven, so, and it hits Past in Flames. So, you know, extra counter spells for some of their biggest spells. Deep Forest Hermit. This does kind of seem like a matchup where it's pretty good. Soulherder gets burnt. Maybe Soulherders get cut. Just go the Ephemerate route this time. Plus, we're not looking for like a Stonehorn loop with Soulherder, so trimming the Soulherders is sort of okay. Seems all right, I guess. Yeah, that game was pretty fun. You never know against Storm what they're working with. Oh, this is sketchy. This is super sketchy. Okay, I'm going to have, what, 2 draw steps to hit a land, and if I do, things are looking super good. And if I don't, I still have Disdainful Stroke and Path to Exile up. You know, we don't have a lot of hate against this deck. It's just, this is a landlight hand, and on the draw with a Dork. Usually I'd want to have a 2-drop in hand. This list doesn't run a lot of 2-drops. So I think I'm going to keep. I might pay for it, but whatever. They're gonna bolt my Birds of Paradise, I know it. But we drew a land, so we're good to go. If they wait, we can even ephemerate our birds to save it. Okay, there's, oh, grape shotting the birds. That's fine, I think, right? Let me think through it. Yep, they didn't wait a turn. They just grape shot it right away. All right, well, we're drawing lands. Deck is doing me proud tonight. Fortunately, next turn we might have to pass with, oh, there's Baral. So are they stuck on 2 lands? They really want me to path this guy? Which means I probably want to do it now. They missed their land drop, so if they've got like Gifts Ungiven, which costs 4, they do have to rip a land off the top to be able to cast it. Man, the deck is just hooking it up with these lands. We get some nice loops going pretty soon. I think I want to play to win instead of to not lose. Like, I'm going to play Eternal Witness here and get back whatever, but start the Ephemerate loop. I've got lands to play Venser next turn, the following turn, so you know what, though? If they have gifts, they can just wait till my turn and play it. In case Venturing it is not great. I could Disdainful Stroke it. They probably are looking out for force more than anything else. I feel like maybe I force something. I don't know. I think running out Eternal Witness just seems solid here. I think it's too defensive. I think I might, I don't know if I want to grab, I think I'll grab the path for now. I've got a land in hand, and I've got an Ephemerate, so if I need lands, I can always get them. All right, well, they played a tapped Steam Vents, which makes me think they don't have the gifts right now. All right, so this hand is developing super well. Now I've got Counter Magic Venser. I could counter something and play a Coatl. So I could also, if they go to end step, I can just bounce one of their lands with Venser, and then that seems too early because I don't have a 5th land yet to be able to Ephemerate on the same turn. Like if I had a 5th land, I could Venser on their end step and then Ephemerate him right away and bounce 2 lands and then upkeep, bounce another land. All right, well, this looks pretty good. I think I might go for the land bouncing here. Although I don't know if I feel like subjecting. No, I'm just gonna run out some of these guys. Land bouncing is so good. I'll just bounce a land. Maybe they'll remand him or something. This is a win condition in our deck. Like, it's it's what we do. Remand is fine. You got it, opponent. So now we just run it back. Would have been nice. I could try to ephemerate and then play a land. Might be a little bit greedy, but I would like to hit my land drops. I still have Disdainful Stroke up, so let's go for this now. I would typically advise against doing that. It's pretty sketchy. Because they could just bolt it and then kind of blow me out, but they probably would have bolted on my end step, I think, if they had it. So they know we have Venser, and we're just kind of running back the same scenario here. I think this time, though, I will just play Coatl because they have mana for they have mana to go off with gifts. Okay. And here I'm just going to get a basic island so that I do have mana up. Oh, well, they could have gone off in response to me cracking that. So maybe I'll continue to be greedy and just get green-white here, I guess. Yep. Well, this must be a very strange storm hand. All right, so things going very well on our side of the table. Now we have Venser mana and if I fetch Breeding Pool, I guess, I have Venser mana and Disdainful Stroke mana up. It's going to keep... well, it was calculated greed. We saw that they didn't have... They didn't respond to a number of things, which were pretty clear signs. They're thinking about this one, though. They are thinking about it this time. So I'm going to get a tapped Breeding Pool here. It's going to drop the double counter spell mana, but again... Oh, I should have ephemerated, but... I did not. No big deal. Again, at this point, we can just play defensively with Ephemerate, like in response to lightning bolts and stuff like that. I do like double counter spell. But Venser bouncing lands is a real thing. Like if they... I don't know. If I feel like I can go for it, I can Venser double Ephemerate and then double rebound on their end step, and that's like bouncing 5 lands, I think. So maybe I do Venser now, and if they go for it, I have Disdainful Stroke. Oh wait, my bad, they passed already. I'm just like, I'm out of it. I forgot whose turn it was. So I do pass now. Let's see if they go for their gifts. It just seems like they don't have it. Okay, well, it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to have fun with Soulherder. Mystical Dispute. You got me. Don't think I can do anything about that. All right, fair enough. I'm not gonna pay because I can't pay. Rawr. All right, so again, it just seems like they don't have the gifts, so I think I might want to start. You know what? I'm going to pass a turn. I'm going to keep holding up my counter magic, keep being fastidious about this stuff. But now I can ephemerate to get Venser back, which seems very good. And if they go for something, I still have my counters. I still have Disdainful Stroke, I should say. All right, so ephemerate like this. If they have a bolt, it's going to happen. That's sort of fine. But it looks like they're going for the gifts. Or they're going for a repeal. And that's X equals 4, so I think that I'm just fine casting Disdainful Stroke. Problem is, then I can ephemerate and get back to Disdainful Stroke. Seems pretty sick. They have another Mystical Dispute. So I'm actually getting back to Disdainful Stroke. All right, and they scooped. That was pretty dominant performance against Storm. So when people ask how this list does against Storm, I tell them I guess it does pretty well. Anyhow, Brick Levin, I think you were asking what Disdainful Stroke hits, and yeah, it hits what I was looking out for: Gifts Ungiven and also Past in Flames. But it also hits, I guess, Repeal X equals 3 because that's a 4-drop. It's a 4 CMC spell. So so that's 1-1, I guess, right? We played 2 matches tonight. The first one just took forever. So I think I'll probably just play one more for now. Let's see how it goes. So this is a queue. We're going to pay 20 points and wait for an opponent. Whirlwind Denial is like 3 mana, right? And it just removes a bunch of spells from the stack or something like that. Counters any spells on the stack. I can't remember what it does, but I have not tested it yet. I'm actually going to run to the bathroom for a sec, so I'll just be back in 1 minute. All right, I'm back. Still haven't found an opponent. Maybe I'll check in with the Discord, try to get some more people to jump on the stream. So yeah, let me fill up my water real quick since I'm still waiting for an opponent. Levin, do you play on Magic Online or do you just play paper? I know there are some people in the Discord that only play the deck in paper. Magic Online isn't the best program in the world, but it lets you play Magic whenever you want, which is pretty cool. All right, so paper. 3 mana, counter all spells and abilities on the stack unless their owners pay 4 mana per spell. Oh, I forgot about that 4 mana thing. Right, so Well, that makes sense. I mean, buying both is pretty expensive. Normally on Magic Online, it doesn't take this long, like to find an opponent for a queue. I guess since you don't use it, you don't really know the difference between queues and other types of competitive Magic Online. But a queue, you pay 20 play points, which is equivalent to $2. You could also pay with 2 ticks, and ticks are basically just dollars. The difference between player points and ticks is tickets can be used not just to enter events, but like to pay for cards. You can also trade ticks to companies, basically for like 90 cents on the dollar. So if you ever want to cash out of Magic Online, you sell your collection and get pretty close to full value for it. So I mean, when you sell your cards, the buy prices online are like way better than the buy prices at like a game store, like a bricks and mortar store. So, for example, like if Teferi costs $60 right now on Magic Online, it's kind of crazy. I'm pretty sure they'll buy it from you for like $50. So it's not like you're taking a huge risk buying into Magic Online because you can sell out so easily. And when you play in other types of competitions, like in leagues, you hear people talk about all the time, like in a modern league. Here's like the table of people who have, I guess they just started a new league. This is how many undefeated trophies these people have. It's like a leaderboard. You can play 5 leagues for 100 points, and then if you do well, you earn tickets. You earn a treasure chest, which you can sell for like 3 tickets, and that's like $3. And if you keep doing pretty well, you can accumulate treasure chests and sell them and make money basically. So I don't know why it's taking so long to find somebody. So you're eyeing up a $13 mono use spirits list. Yeah, I mean, when I started, there was like a tutorial through MTG Goldfish, and they were talking about some, like, it's like a red-black Eldrazi standard list with like all commons. It was like a 30-cent deck or something like that. But I got the deck, and you can go into like free play rooms where it's just totally free. You don't have to pay anything at all, and just play a bunch and like figure out like which buttons to press. And once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. You can just feel comfortable paying reasonable money to buy a deck, and then, as I said, if you ever get tired of it, you can always just sell and just get your money back basically. For the most part, cards increase in value over time, the same as they do in paper, so you might actually get more money back for your collection than you actually pay for it. Ugh, this is getting silly, waiting for somebody to join me. I guess Monday night is pretty quiet. Let's see. Nobody saying anything on the Discord. Nobody joining me. This is a very exciting stream. It actually is pretty exciting. This guy Trogdor, who was in here earlier, subscribed to my channel. A subscription means that the person is basically paying $5 a month for my content, which is amazing. Like, super duper happy about that. So thank you to that guy Trogdor, even though I think he's not following the stream anymore tonight. I have plans to try to make a second regular night for streaming once I get like 5 subscribers. So Levin, if you want to oh, you just jumped back in, Trogdor. Welcome back. So I was just saying how grateful I am for the subscription that you made earlier. When I get 5 subscribers, I'm going to do my best to find a second streaming night for the week. I think currently I've got 2 subscribers. So I don't know. I'm a busy guy, but I do love doing this. I like chatting with you guys while I play. So I'd love to find a second night to do more. But first, I think I want to wait until I get like 5 subscribers. So anyhow, Trogdor. It was you're talking about the last game, the third game against As Foretold. Unfortunately, I got beaten. They just had 4 rhinos, and I couldn't really deal with it. This hand is kind of weird. If one of these ephemerates was a snake, it would be like the nuts. Or if one of them was actually a dork, it would be the nuts. But as things stand, unless I'm playing against humans or something, it seems bad. I got a mulligan. Oh yeah. So deck is not with me here. All right, I guess I can try to make this work. We are going to pitch the 4-drop and one of the 3-drops, and this 5 it could be worse. So fairly happy with this. Looks like the opponent is keeping and thinking about which card to pitch. So looks like they kept, and I'm going to keep as well. Venter can get pieced out, and Eternal Witness as well. So if the opponent has removal for my turn 1 Hierarch, that's pretty gross, but we can always draw lands. And if this Oracle hits like a white source, pretty gas. Or not a white source, just really any land would be pretty awesome. Oh man, so this is probably like some like removal deck. Like if they have Bolt or Path, actually anything here, Inquisition would be terrible. So definitely Death Shadow. If they play Death Shadow, that would actually be pretty good for us here. But they're gonna Thoughtseize. Oh, Fatal Push. Either way, you got it, opponent. He knows I mulligan to 5. Well, forces something. I mean, not really concerned with their non-creature spells, but we need to rip a fetch or any kind of white source, I guess. Okay. Come on, deck. There it is. I think we just do Upkeep Path. It's not a 4/4, so he can't Stubborn Denial me. Yeah, well, they didn't Thoughtseize me, right? They just they did even worse. They pushed my Hierarch off a building. All right, so we got rid of Death Shadow. We still don't have blue mana to play this Coiling Oracle. All right, opponent. Let's see what they've got. If I draw green, I can play Witness and get back Path. Definitely not countering that. This is okay. You know, it's a tough choice, I guess, for them, because if they take the Witness, I can cast the Oracle. If they take the Oracle, I cast the Witness, get back the Oracle. Probably going to take the Witness, I'd imagine. I mean, both of them at this point require me to draw another land. Opponent's going down to 8. We're just hoping that they don't have another threat in hand. No, it doesn't matter really, because if they untapped and they had 2 lands. If they have a Stubborn Denial, I can pay the 1 for it, right? And the Death Shadow was only a 3/3, so it wasn't like a hard counter. Yeah, but they don't have much that I want to force, honestly. Like, I'm not forcing the Thoughtseize. I have no creatures, so I'm not forcing any removal. The only thing, like, right now that changes the dynamic of the game significantly is if they play a threat right now. Like, if they play a threat right now, it's rough. If they don't, sort of fine. Okay. I mean, again, if they path this or bolt this, it's totally fine, right? The dynamic of the game doesn't change very much. We just have to dodge threats for a little while. All right, well, they have like half their deck in their graveyard. Yep. I still don't love them playing Witness, taking the Oracle. I feel like if I were them, I would take the Witness because Witness gives us access to Path to Exile, just killing all their threats. All right, 2 cards in hand. They've played a land every single turn, and there is our 3rd land. I'm gonna go get green, blue. And now I could, again, I don't really care. I mean, look, if they have one of those Planeswalkers that's a 2 of in their deck or something, and I could have countered it, it's okay. It's, whatever. I can live with that. But it's much more likely that one of the 8 creatures in their deck is going to kill us. Well, they do have Street Wraiths, so I can count that. They have 1, 2. They have 2 Anglers in the graveyard, 1 Shadow exiled. I mean, Coiling Oracle gets us back on the path to drawing cards and potentially countering a Planeswalker. But if they draw a threat, I'm gonna feel dumb because then it's suddenly chump block mode, and I don't have any Ephemerates or anything like that. They could also have a counter spell in hand. If they play an Angler, then they're covered. I guess I'll take Oracle. We need to draw ourselves back into this game. Drawing it more for its for it than for the fact that it's a blue card. Like, the fact that it's a blue card is fine, but it's an attrition matchup, right? Mid-range matchup. Opponent plays the Bauble. Got 2 cards in hand. Imagine one of them at least might be a land with the lack of action. So if they don't like what they see, they'll play us a fetch land out. Okay, they don't have a fetch land. They're just passing the turn. So I am going to attack with the Eternal Witness if they have a Snapcaster. So be it. Another land is pretty nice. Can crack it for blue right now and just hold up Hardcast Force of Negation, but I don't think that's the route that I'm going to go. Okay, Snapcaster, you got it, buddy. Okay, I mean they're doing some cycling of their own. I could try to counter that, but they just milled one of the Royal Scions. I also milled one of the Death Shadows. So yeah, you got your trade if you want it. I'm going to get a basic. Why am I stopping on my damage? That's weird. I'll take that off. Must have clicked it by accident. Yeah. Let's get this guy down. Well, that's okay. I couldn't have cast 2 this turn anyway. Yeah, good call, 11. I mean, that's as you heard, that was my logic as well. Inquisition is fine. Definitely not. I'm not going to pitch my card to counter it. So they can take the Oracle. I'm left with Force of Negation. It's pretty weak. But they're at 5, right? I mean, it's all about their threats. I think we're going to see an Angler here. So an Eternal Witness off the top would be pretty bomb. Actually, an Ephemerate would be pretty solid. Going to thin the deck and get a basic island, I guess. That's rough. I think I play it out, though. Shockland, save some life. Yeah, I mean, people are like, oh, Death Shadow is such a great matchup for us. We go so super wide, but you see how the games can go. You mulligan, they remove your creatures. Okay, so I guess I might as well exile that, right? Just small percentage points, but whatever. This is ridiculous. If they have, maybe they play the Inquisition because they have the double strike. But if they have double strike, maybe I don't know. It's okay. I'm just attacking. If they've got Temur Battle Rage, I mean they're gonna have 3 cards to my land in hand, and I think the game is pretty much over. Maybe I'll draw Temur Battle Rage. All right, well, we could draw Winds of Abandon. That would be pretty sweet. All right, so basically, I have to draw a path off the top. Maybe an Ephemerate would do me a solid. There's not really any spell that like. If I draw Force off the top, I could have 3 blue up, or 2 blue up with 3 mana, but I'll just play this now, and we'll go to our Incept, see if they bolt something. If they do, then whatever, I'm just going to scoop. So Path or Ephemerate. Oh, there's an Ephemerate. It's pretty nice. They could easily have a counterspell, though. Or a Battle Rage, or a Push, or whatever. Teferi would be okay, I guess, here. So this kind of sucks. And I don't even have 2 white up here. How could I have done that differently? I guess I could have played this untapped. Like, if I draw a path right now, it would be pretty awesome to save my Soulherder. Summer Denial. Okay. Well, I can't cast it anyway. So my creatures are dead now. I could still draw Winds of Abandon. So come on, Winds of Abandon. Come on, Teferi, bounce, draw a path. Basic Forest. All right. Do these guys even run Bolt? I guess they do. All right, so these things all come in. These are pretty nutty against these decks. Purges all come in. Those are actually the nuts in this matchup. And I guess that's it. That's what's coming in. Let's see. Do like Teferi against them. I don't like forces. I always take my forces out. Soulherder is cool, but it kind of dies in this matchup. So I think I'll trim those guys. I'm not taking out Hermit. It doesn't die to Fatal Push. I might take out Time Warp. Because, I don't know, they might bring in Ashiok or some kind of Graveyard Hate or something. Time Warp seems like a pretty easy cut here. Although Soulherder is the combo with Stonehorn. Venser for bouncing Gurmag Anglers is pretty solid. Yeah, that's true also. Witness, like if they thought tease away like a Worship or something, Witness gets that back. That's been pretty awesome in the past. I guess I'll trim Venser. It's a bounce spell. Maybe I'll trim 1 Teferi. No, I like having interaction during combat and them not being able to respond. Venser is such a unique effect, though. Maybe I'll just trim 1 Spell Queller since I have a lot of removal and call that good. Okay, the only thing missing from this hand is like a crazy 3-drop for turn 2. Easy keep, though. Still have a turn 2 play, even if they bolt the Hierarch or push the Hierarch. All right. Teferi's a good draw. We just need to start hitting some lands. Birds of Paradise. A little slow, but we've got green next turn and white for Path or Ephemerate. Just dodge some removal this turn. Okay, let's see what the opponent takes. I'm guessing Teferi. I mean, they see I don't have a third land, so it's possible they just maybe they take Winds or Path. They took Teferi. 2 more of those guys in the deck, as well as Noble Hierarchs. Ha. Welcome to my hand, Teferi. I missed you. Yeah, Ephemerate's a really good card. I think, people sleep on it a little bit. So I think I played Birds of Paradise here and Ephemerated if they try to kill it. Could also just Ephemerate this and try to hit a land. You know what? I think maybe I just path it to get a land. I've still got more removal in hand. Ephemerating it doesn't really do anything. It does give me the rebound, but if they untap and kill my creature, that's pretty terrible. I think I like pathing, because the question is what kind of land do I get? Probably have to be blue, although white would be reasonable as well. Double white for Winds of Abandon. You know what? Yeah, I think I'm just going to path. And I will get blue for now. Oh, you know what? I cut my forces, so I don't need double blue. So I'll just get white. I can't get green because I need white-blue for Teferi. Okay, his opponent missing land drops. Death Shadow, it's a 1/1. If they miss a land drop, that's... Okay, 2 Death Shadows. Land? Venser is interesting. You know what? I think I'm just going to... Well, they missed a land drop, right? So giving them a land doesn't seem awesome. Maybe just bouncing one of them and then block Ephemerate seems good. I could also just... Yeah, like if I get down... If I get down to Teferi and bounce 1, he's going to be at 1. One of the Death Shadows just kills him unless I chump. I could Winds 1 and then block an Ephemerate. Seems reasonable, but I don't love giving them another land. I do like getting Teferi down. I could get Teferi down and... I could just start off by Ephemerating. It could just hit a land right away. I think I'm going to Winds of Abandon and then block and Ephemerate. I don't love going shields down with Teferi immediately. I could also just play Teferi and take him up. He'll go to 5. If they don't draw a land, they're stuck with these 2 1/1s. But if they play... I need to get more lands, basically. So ephemerating this Coiling Oracle seems decent. If they've got another push, that's going to be rough. So blocking and ephemerating just seems a little bit sketchy in this spot since I don't have a lot of resources here. So maybe I just ephemerate now, resign myself to taking like beats next turn. No, I think I'm going to Winds of Abandon and then try to Ghost block. Ticking up Teferi. Teferi does make safe, I guess. It's true, but I guess, you know, rather than give them mana, it seems like a good play, right? So tick him up. Hope that they can't deal with him. No land for the opponent. Okay. Another land. God damn it. So now I can block and let Teferi live. Or not block and let Teferi die. They could have a bolt as well. This is getting rather dire. I don't think I'm fine with Teferi dying. These games are not going super well here. Having to path my own creature was pretty rough. I'd love to have the path right now to be able to deal with one of their creatures. So I guess, yeah, I mean, we're not in a good spot here. Not in a good spot at all. Well, that was a very good draw. Very good. So I think I need to get a blue source off of this. I think all I want to do for the time being is just Ghost block with Teferi still on the board. He's going to die, but I'll get to draw another card off of Coatl. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, well, that changes things, doesn't it? This is so ridiculous. So now I guess I just have to let the snake die. Ephemerate doesn't really do anything for me, but it's potentially good with Venser, particularly if I draw another land. All right, so I let this thing resolve. Teferi's going to die. I'm going to go down to 13. Oh yeah, you're right. I should have definitely wins there before. You're right. I can still do it now. So wins is great here. I think I need to deal with the Death Shadows more than I need to deal with. Actually, if they go after my face and Teferi, I can just kill the one that goes after Teferi. Oh, they're both going after Teferi, so you know, I guess that's good. But I should still cast the winds now if I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go get, I guess, blue-green. This just, I really don't want to do this because it wins with 2 more mana is so much better. But we can't be that greedy, I guess. Teferi down. Land? Okay, that's a land. Let's see if I can throw him in front of the Plague Engineer and see if I can get, you know, he can get, try to like remove Venser. I don't know, I guess what they would have, like maybe a Kolaghan's Command. Let's see, gonna bounce this guy. I think I'm kind of happy to, let's see what the opponent does here. If I line up blocks, and then Ephemerate, bounce a land, they play a Death Shadow, I get a rebound. Yeah, I know, Fatal Push is a consideration. Push does hit him now, you're right, of course it does. So I think I'm just going to, I could either just take 2 and then bounce the Death Shadow when he plays it again. That seems fine. And then if he lives through the rebound, then I can bounce the Plague Engineer. I have a feeling this guy's got a Stubborn Denial in hand, but we'll see, I guess. Man, a push here would be so rough. The opponent has had everything all day, so... And they're not even paying for this, which means they probably have like a Snapcaster. We need an Eternal Witness here, basically. A Purge is not terrible. Yeah, just go for it right now. Although, yeah, I mean, opponent is representing like Snapcaster Stubborn Denial, which is pretty miserable. All right, sometimes opponents have everything they need. This guy had all the removal, all the counters, all the creatures, all the hand disruption. Good games. I might play one more. That was fairly unsatisfying. Yes, I very much did get Grixis. So I'm not sure what's going on here. It's saying that we're both still in the queue. Kind of weird. Maybe this is Magic Online telling me I should stop playing for the evening. Oh, what did it just say here? It says, event has finished. Yeah. I know it's finished. This is weird. This has never happened before. I don't know. Maybe I'll just call it for the evening. I did get Grixis pretty hard right there. So what could have gone differently? They pretty much just had good stuff, right? Like if we just jump in really quick to the replay of that game specifically. I guess so, but that's what my deck is supposed to do. That's like saying Storm should lose its next match for like storming off. So this is a pretty great hand, right? It has removal. I guess I just didn't draw lands at the beginning of the game. Let's see. So they kept 7. So they've got good cards too. So I'm going to play my Hierarch. Pretty sure they kill the Hierarch here. Okay, so they push the Hierarch. I get to play my Coiling Oracle, draw Teferi. I think Coiling Oracle drew the birds rather than just hitting a land. Okay, Watery Grave. They Inquisition me, and they took the Teferi. Leaving mana up. Drew another Teferi. So that was nice, but not nice enough since I'm not really drawing mana. So let's see now. How could this game have played out differently if so I play my birds, they try to kill it, and then I pathed it. But how differently would it have gone if I had ephemerated? We don't know what kind of removal they have in hand at this point. We know that later on they had a dismember, right? So this push could get countered by the path or by the ephemerate, and I went for the path. Probably no way to know, I guess, what they drew into, but I think they missed a land drop, so odds are they have like a pretty stacked hand. Yeah, this is where things got kind of rough because I chose to play Teferi and tick him up, and honestly, like, I know it was partially your suggestion that led me to actually make the play, but I considered it as well. I feel like the better play could well have been to ephemerate the Coiling Oracle for starters. Just, playing Coiling Oracle, playing Ephemerate defensively is not always that effectively. God, I'm getting tired. It's not always that effective against a deck that has tons of removal because, you go to Ghost Block and you Ephemerate and then they just bolt your guy. So playing Ephemerate when they're tapped out actually seems kind of optimal. So if I had Ephemerated now, I guess we can see what Coiling Oracle would have drawn during my next draw step. And then I can just win one of their guys and not have to deal with two attackers. Because they do rip a land off the top for their turn. Well, no, they play Thought Scour, and then I think they draw land. Which makes these guys both into 4/4s. And then I chose to chump when they were both going at Teferi, and I could have just let it go. I'm not going to be able to defend Teferi in this game. So the risk here was just hoping to fade a land, and I'm not sure that was a risk that I should have taken, right? Like, the cards that decks have the most of are lands, and even though, you could say the deck doesn't play a lot of lands, they still probably have, like, 16 lands at least in their deck to hit, so I guess the next thing to check is what the next card on the top of my deck was. I don't know, like, if it really matters, but if it was a land, it would have... Okay, it was a Coatl. So I could have, if I blinked the Oracle, I could have immediately played the Coatl, and then I guess I just ticked up again, choose to play the Coatl now, and then that land would have been there, and I could have played it last turn. So that would have given me... Well, did I... No, this is my... Yeah, I guess I didn't play a land on the turn when I played Teferi. Part of the consideration was... Hey, DV Neil, welcome. I'm going through this again. This is the last game against Grixis because we started with a good hand, and it kind of just went downhill. I think I misplayed on the previous turn when I untapped with Hallowed Fountain, Forest, and Plains. I could have ephemerated a Coiling Oracle when they were tapped out, and that would have drawn me Ice Fang, and then I could have just cast Ice Fang. Ice Fang would have drawn me this Windswept Heath. I could have played it. I wouldn't have had the Ephemerate in hand at that point, but I would have two creatures on board, no Teferi. The opponent would have ripped their land. They'd be attacking for 8 like this. And I could probably just take 8 and go down to 9. I untap with 2 creatures, a rebounding Ephemerate. 4 lands is going to get me to Venser. So yeah, I mean, anyhow, I think that was just a misplay. It happens. But... it's not out and out bad play. It's just when you play Soulherder, I think you have to be pretty, I don't know, just pretty careful, basically. You need to consider all your options really, really thoroughly. No. Trogdor, pathing... Oh, I see. You think it was wrong to path the birds. I mean, so what's the other play? The thing is, pathing the birds gave me a 3rd land. If I didn't path the birds, I would have been stuck on 2 lands still. So, and if I had ephemerated instead the Coiling Oracle, I would have drawn, I think, that Ice Fang Coatl. Anyhow, pathing the birds, I think, was correct. Like, when you're stuck on 2 lands, trading a path in your hand for another land in play is pretty sweet. Since you're here, Trogdor and Neil, this is like kind of locked up, this queue thing for some reason. I think I'm going to, it's possible that like queues aren't happening right now anymore, but I'm just going to restart Magic Online. Oh, that's a good call. The path, yeah, the path shuffled, and that put those other two cards in play. No, I'm totally happy with the path play. I think pathing the birds in that spot was totally correct, particularly since we had another piece of removal in hand. But it's like against the Electro Dominance deck. Like, they just kind of had pretty nutty cards. Like, they had, the Death Shadow deck there had 2 Death Shadows. They had tons of removal. I think they had a Snapcaster towards the end, unless that was the previous game. All right, Trogdor. Well, thanks very much for checking in, and I'm gonna sign off after one more round. So I guess if I don't see you before then, I'll see you next Monday. And thanks very much again for the subscription. So for some reason, Magic Online tonight has taken a while on this loading screen. So what do you guys want to talk about while I'm waiting for Magic Online to restart? So Time Warp hasn't come up yet this evening. So Time Warp was replacing my Blade Splicer. That was one of the cards that I was trying to ramp into on turn 2. Ramping turn 2 Blade Splicer is pretty gas, I think, in Gasalicious in a deck with Ephemerate, because then you untap and you can double Ephemerate and you've got 9 power or something. No, Bricklevin, I don't play Commander. Yeah, it's true. We haven't played any 5-drops tonight. It's possible that Magic Online is just kind of behaving a little bit strangely tonight. Might partially explain why it's taken a while just to find opponents in general. You know what? Let me leave here for the moment, and I'll run one match back with the Blade Splicer. And we have an opponent, unless they get one before I join. So, all right, Magic, you can do it. There we go. All right, so I'm on the play. I've got Blade Splicer in the deck, so it's an option. It's a possibility, I should say, on turn 2. I'm going to keep. I'm going to definitely play, and this is fine. I'm going to keep this. It's got a turn 2 play. I think I'll get Temple Garden turn 1. Okay, these forces are now officially dead cards. That's ridiculous. They didn't even play an Ether Vial. I would have happily paid both forces to deal with an Ether Vial. But yeah, unless we draw like straight gas, this is not going to end well game 1. But we do have really nice sideboard cards to bring in against humans. And yeah, we have some good ones in the main deck as well, I guess. I can start pathing and witnessing for paths. Seems reasonably solid. Get a forest. Actually, a 2-drop would be the next. Would be the best, like an Icefang Coatl or another Oracle next turn to draw, because then I can. Oh, is he going to name Path? That's ridiculous. Well, it's what humans does. We're going to game 2. I have a Winds of Abandon. I can deal with this idiot if well, Teferi's pretty solid. Oh, Teferi can bounce this guy. I love it. But I should probably wait until I have enough mana to play Teferi, bounce this thing, and play Path to Exile. I don't know. maybe I just bounce this thing and make him replay it. Like, name path again, that's sort of fine. Although, no, I can play Witness here and go get... I'm just going to go get a land. That seems pretty awesome. Yeah, DV Neil, I'm on board with your line. We do want our 4th land to do exactly what I was just saying. And I would probably get, at this point, just a basic Plains. It turns on Death Touch for subsequent... Can't hold up path when he names it right away. No, I'm not. I'm going to bounce him and... Wait. You know, he's going to play another creature, right? So that's the idea, is that I'm going to pass the turn now. Opponent's going to attack with this thing, or maybe not. Probably not. But he's going to play some other creature. I'm going to bounce the Meddling Mage and path the other creature. Is there going to be a Reflector Mage? Opponent doesn't know anything else I have. Oh, it's another Meddling Mage. Get out of here, Meddling Mage. Don't name Teferi, please. That would be so ridiculous. You can't possibly think of Teferi. Ephemerate. So clever, opponent. Probably not going to attack either, like, because they don't want to trade and let me path the other one. So this is actually going very well for me now, I think. Path the Exiles in the revealed zone. It's not in my graveyard. I'm getting confused. All right. Oh god, 3 forces. Yeah, and now I think I'm just gonna path this thing. Opponent's going to replay their mage, and I guess maybe if they name Ephemerate, thinking that, you know, I've already played my path, then I can play another Eternal Witness and get back the path again. We can't block their hasty creatures anyway, so I'm gonna get in. These 3 forces are so ridiculous. I mean, naming Ephemerate is actually pretty smart because that means I can't blink my Eternal Witness. And it's probably the smart play because I've already spent one of my paths. Oh my. Are they going face here? Like they're just getting frisky? Like they don't really care about Teferi? In which case, Spell Queller becomes a pretty sick draw. Maybe they go 1-1. That would make sense as well, I guess. Nope, they're going face with both. I love it. Unless their hand is just straight up full of Mantis Riders, then that would be kind of rough. If we draw another path off the top, that would be ridiculous because then I can double path right now. So we're getting pretty close to wins as well. Opponent thinking very, very hard. Okay. Another Teferi. That's pretty sick, I guess, because he can blow up the Mantis Rider Phantasmal Image style. But I definitely want to path one of them right now. So I will play this thing. Get back. That maybe they have multiple Phantasmal Images, which is just rough. Because we can't deal with both of these Mantis Riders this turn. I can upkeep path. Play this tapped. All right. So now the opponent can play like a detention dude on Eternal Witness. That would be rough. We know that they have one Meddling Mage in hand, but they've got 5 cards, so it could be a lot of scary stuff. We're kind of just hoping to dodge another Mantis Rider, because we can deal with this Mantis Rider. It's just unfortunate that we drew these forces. Like, if we drew like Spell Quellers instead, it would just be so much better. Okay, Meddling Mage. That's not super threatening. So at this point, I guess I don't even know what I want them to name. So they name Path to Exile. So I don't know. Cracking like one of these fetch land, cycling lands, card draw lands, canopy lands would be the best for us, I guess, here. Another Meddling Mage. Okay. We can pay a little bit more for this Teferi. Kind of stinks if we draw a 2-drop. Now, is this like a Thalia's Lieutenant here? Just making everybody bigger. Why not? Force of Negation. You've betrayed me. All right, so we're taking 4 here, and then we're going to have to figure something out. Go after Teferi. That would just be like primo. Okay, they're going after me. Can't blame them. It's the correct play. Up, come on, go after Teferi, please. Yes. They're afraid of me targeting their Mantis Rider. I am going to have to pay 4 for this Teferi, which is horrible, and they've named Path, so Ephemerate would be a good draw next turn, but it's actually not because Thalia is taxing it. Come on, go after Teferi, please. No. All right. We can do better than this. Yeah, this is just not going to end well, I think. Play Soulherder, bounce, like blink a Coiling Oracle. Doesn't really, like, take 4 in the air next turn, do a bunch of chump blocking. I can draw an Ephemerate and hopefully get, like next turn, I'm just looking to chump with one of my Eternal Witnesses and take like 4 damage. They got 2 redraws on the table. Like, what seems more likely? Getting value out of Soulherder and drawing into, because I might as well just take this guy up now so I don't forget. If I draw into Winds, I can do that on their turn. Also, I only have 1 blue, so I can't like play Soulherder or Teferi and then draw a Coatl. Hey, Peripheral. Welcome to the stream. It's not going super well at the moment against humans in game 1. Let's get rid of this Mantis Rider. And there's nothing really great we can draw here. Oh, it got countered. So I didn't draw a card. Yuck. All right. Well, as I said, there's nothing really great that we could have drawn there, although I still wanted to draw a card. This game is all but over. I guess, like, with Thalia on board, Ephemerate just becomes that much worse. I can trade with Thalia's Lieutenant and take 6 here. But then I'm dead to anything next turn. Well, our plan against humans is really all about the sideboard. Like, imagine it, if any of these draws are like worship, the game is pretty much over. Opponent's thinking super carefully about their last play here. Yeah, the forces are ridiculous. Like, you draw 3 of the cards that you're definitely sideboarding out. Opponent going with the Scry. I feel like I might have just blinked the Lieutenant there to make their team super gigantic. First strike is sort of annoying against Dahlia in this situation. Otherwise, potentially trade there, but... Oh, you know what? This guy's triggering here, so he's going to be a 3-3. I can't trade with anybody. 2 cards on top. That's fun. It's funny how the humans player has like substantially less time than the Soulherder player here. Honestly, I don't really know what outs I'm playing to here. Our deck has a lot of weird cards in it. The Squirrel Lord would be pretty decent here, right? Stabilize for a moment. Opponent accidentally might click through their attack step. Just getting in with Thalia. Hopefully at Teferi, that would be cool. All right, this blows my mind. I don't know what they're doing. I guess they're really afraid of me being able to cast Path to Exile. So yeah, I'm just going to take it for now. And then we're going to draw the Squirrel Lord, and I'm going to run to the bathroom, and then we're going to bring in some ephemerae, some worships. All right, Coiling Oracle. Be right back, guys. 1 second. All right. I was saying that Time Warp is Blade Splicer right now. This is really annoying that I only have 1 blue. Like, I think I sort of have to play Soulherder, hit another blue source, and play Coiling Oracle. If I play Soulherder, I get to get Path back, which is cool, but I can't cast it, so not that cool. Let's start with Coiling Oracle, I guess. Game is all but lost, so why not? Oh, that's the best. That's the best. I think I'll just scoop now. I don't feel like wasting any more time. I take a screenshot of the 4 Force of Negations. It's pretty funny. So I bring in 2 Celestial Purges because they've got the Mantis Riders and the Kite Sails, but not much else. And then I bring in 2 Pithing Needles to turn off Ether Vial. I take out all 4 forces because it's ridiculously bad. I think I take out Teferi because it's not particularly good. And then I think I'll trim 1 Spell Queller because Ether Vial makes it not that good of a card, even though it's a flyer. It doesn't line up well with Mantis Rider. All right, that's the plan. I've played against humans once already with this list, and I think it was actually a Soulherder player. It was this guy Rhino717 on the Discord, and he I just drew really well against him. I think I turned 4 Winds of Abandon him when he had a Deputy of Detention holding 2 Oracles. So I wiped his board on turn 4 and got back 2 Oracles and got to just like get triggers, and it was pretty gross. So the deck has game against humans is the point. I just drew 4 Force of Negations. Oh, this is pretty ridiculously good. I'm going to keep it. So turn 1, we just get, let's see, get blue, and then we play this next turn, green, and we've got the Quaddle. I do want some basic, so getting an island here is okay. You wouldn't shock what? I'm not sure what you're saying. What? Can respond to Vial with Needle. What? What are you talking about? No, there's nothing else to name in their deck. I brought in Pithing Needle specifically for Ether Vial. So I'm using my tempo on turn 1. There's no other play unless I'm missing something. Well, I do have shocks. I do have shocks for sure, but let's see if the opponent has that Ether Vial. I think maybe they do. That was a good draw. That was already going slightly better. If they have the turn to Meddling Mage, that's pretty obnoxious. Did they keep oh, they didn't keep a 1-lander. I was getting excited for like half a second. Meddling Mage naming Path is just like so dirty. So ridiculously dirty. Although we can quell their turn 3 spell, which is also pretty dirty. Unless they have Reflector Mage. Oh, they're doing it. For anybody who doesn't know, you can't respond to this entering the battlefield with Path. So, well, that was a good draw. I might actually have to just play Soulherder. Get my value going. I mean, who knows if they have an Ether Vial, but I only brought 2 of these things in. Wow. I don't know. Maybe I just need to hold up Queller. It's pretty solid. And then it just lines up blocks like great against Meddling Mage. Maybe we just get to eat this thing. He must be thinking about Spell Queller. Pithing Needle. What? Oh, Teferi. He's naming Teferi. That's ridiculous. That is absurd. Like, Teferi doesn't do anything against your deck. You got it, opponent. Oh, come on. Bring it. Sweet Jesus, this is so delicious. Oh my god. Maybe they have a Dismember, right? Which would be sort of explain the attack. Fine. You got it, opponent. Dismember me. And now my Path to Exiles are turned back on. Oh. Man, oh man. What are you doing, opponent? What are you doing? Now I get to hold up Double Path and Spell Queller. Pretty strong. They missed their third land. They must have an Ether Vial or 2 Ether Vials. They should play it out, because if they have a Deputy of Detention, they can take the Pithing Needle and suddenly their Ether Vials are live. Oh, come on. What are you doing? Tap that other land. Do both. But then if they have a Deputy, it can eat my Spell Quellers, but then I can path the Deputy and get both Spell Quellers back. So good. Oh, it's so good. I can't believe they brought Pithing Needle in. The opponent is not very good at Magic. Like, no, I don't know, no disrespect. It's just like, it's an objectively bad card to bring in against me. So now it's just attacks, play Soulherder, blink the Coatl, hold up path. Things are looking pretty solid. All right, we've got basic planes with that guy, so all right, well, we're getting to do some Soulherder things. That's fun. That's fun too. Now we can ephemerate this Spell Queller if we want to. It doesn't have anything underneath him because he was just all he was doing was eating their attacker. Fun with Spell Quellers. Grow the Soulherder with Ephemerate. It's getting pretty close to lethal. Not quite there yet. Actually, this is going to be 4. It's going to be 8, basically, now. Three paths. I'm not going to play the Coiling Oracle. I could, but I don't want to. I could play the Coiling Oracle and like leave up triple path, but opponent's hanging on. Maybe they've got a Deputy and they're thinking, you know, it's gonna. Yeah, okay. So we didn't even need Worship that game. That was just pretty disgusting. They had the turn 2 Meddling Mage, but they attacked into 3 open mana. At least they're not going to do that now. I actually took all the Teferis out, so it's like extra bad that they brought in Pithing Needle against me. And now hopefully they'll sideboard out their vials because they might think that I'm bringing in 4 Pithing Needles against them. All right, just gonna run it back. Not as good on the draw, obviously, against humans, but if we can get some creatures on the first few turns, oh man, Winds of Abandon is pretty beautiful, but Don't have double white. Opponent's starting with 7. We don't have a 2-drop. We don't have any ramp. I can get back a land with Eternal Witness. Hopefully draw into some 2-drops. I can't keep this. The mulligan. I've got some good sideboard stuff that I haven't seen. Ugh. I think this is the point where you have to keep and hope that you actually draw things off the top. Because mulliganing to 5, I'm hoping for like 2 lands, 2 snakes, and an ephemerate, I guess. It's asking for a lot. But I just get run over for the first 3 turns of the game here. I think I might have to go down to 5. All right, well, there's a worship. Definitely keeping that. If they have a Kitesail freebooter, that's going to be rough. We've got a turn 2. I need to keep some lands, so I'm probably going to get Temple Garden, play Hierarch, and then play Blade Splicer, I guess. And hang on for dear life. I mean, this hand gets a little bit wrecked by freebooter, but it's also pretty sweet. No turn 1 for the opponent. That just made the hand a little bit sweeter. Clearly they could play a Deputy and nab Worship, but we've got paths and such, so... So just Meddling Mage, name path, give me pass the turn back over. I'll play Blade Splicer. Maybe they just play Thalia or something here. Oh, they've got the freebooter. That's gross. But I've got Blade Splicer, which is also fairly gross. 4/4 first strike with evasion, and with a 4/4 first strike with Exalted is what I meant to say. So if I draw Path, I'm definitely pathing right away and playing Oracle. Man, turn 2 freebooter. It's ridiculous. Like on my perfect hand with Worship. I do have another Worship and then some Stonehorns, so not the end of the world. Okay, Witness is interesting. Gonna start bringing the beef though. Could Witness for a land. It's just so slow. So now like Soulherder or Ephemerate are solid because maybe the opponent like Reflector Mages here, which isn't amazing because I get to replay the Blade Splicer. If the opponent's stuck on 2 lands, that would be great for us, but they just played a land, so not great for us. They probably have choices at 3 mana just like we do. You know, but Path or Wind are outs for us because, you know, we've got a Worship just tucked away up there. Opponent going for maybe Deputy, maybe Reflector Mage. I don't love... I mean, either of them is sort of okay, but I don't love Reflector Mage on Blade Splicer. If that's... I mean, maybe he does the Golem. I guess he's going to take the Golem here, right? But if we draw like a soul... Okay, he's going for the Splicer itself, which leaves a 3/3, which I'm sort of okay with. That's a fine trade. And then if I path this thing, I get that back, I get another Golem. That's actually pretty amazing. So come on path, I guess, right? But path, I probably just want to get Worship, I think. Opponent, stop thinking, just pass me the turn. So I think Oracle plus Hierarch is probably better. I get double Exalted. That's pretty nutty. Oh my god. So I absolutely have to use this path right now. They could have another kite sail. On the one hand, they're presenting such an anemic force, an army. So if I just play a hierarch, hope to whiff a second freebooter, next turn I draw a land, I path, I play worship. Seems pretty good. Yeah, DB Neil, good call. The Blade Splicer, if it was Time Warp would be pretty bad. So basically, what are we saying here? Yeah, I think I should rip it now. I mean, I could do it. I'll do it on their upkeep for sure, so they don't have extra lands. But I'm do it this turn cycle. No, I'm gonna get worship. I'm gonna get worship. Worship just wins the game. Nah, you only need one creature, two creatures, three creatures against them, and then worship is just lights out. Unless they have a second deputy, and then whatever. I might actually not even want to do it during upkeep. I'm just going to sort of see what they play. They're not going to draw a counterspell or something. But if they go for like a phantasmal image here, I'm just going to path the deputy. This guy might be annoying. If they play a meddling mage, I'm just going to path now the deputy because he could just name worship. And this actually just seems fine for us. Yeah, I don't know. This game is going very well right now, I think. Get some water while the opponent finishes that turn. All right. Opponent should have blinked the golem instead, I think. It's just better play. So what does he even name now? I mean, probably the path, I guess. That's typically what they should name anyway. But if they name path, then I guess, yeah, there's not too much I can do against this guy. I don't have to ferry in anymore. Can't bounce him. They named Soulherder. Oh my god. I think based on that Pithing Needle play, we already knew that the opponent is not winning Pro Tours. So if I draw a land, I get to get path back. Well, I get to get path back anyway. But I can cast it next turn. Opponent has... Okay. Wow. So, I mean, that's a lot of Exalted, but... So get path. If they play another Meddling Mage, like, those are not cards that are going to beat us in this situation. All right. I mean, if they crack this Waterlogged Grove right away... I mean, what? They could have another deputy for my golems, and that's sort of fine. But even just like with triple Exalted, I'm doing okay here. Reflector Mage on one of the golems, maybe? Maybe on Hierarch? Okay, Golem seems reasonable. Hierarch also seems reasonable, to be fair. Reflector Mage not the best against our deck, right? Like, just crazy enters the battlefield abilities left and right. Opponent wouldn't have used the Waterlogged Grove if they didn't have another 3-drop. So maybe it's another Reflector Mage just dealing with my golems. That's fine. Okay with that. I mean, we need to draw something reasonable. Our draws haven't been nuts. A card. This guy is naming Soulherder. That takes that off the table as a draw. But Ephemerate would be busted. We do have 4 Ephemerates in the deck. Okay, opponent knows about that, and that, and that, and that. Yeah, they know about everything, I guess. Let's see. Let's play these guys. I don't need path up this turn, like, at all. So I'm going to get, like, crazy exalted and just start beating down. I'm only going to have 4 toughness, but I'm going to be able to just do this for a few turns. They're down to 1 card currently. Next turn I'll have crazy mana, like if I draw something decent. They should double block with Reflector Mages here. Yeah. The Birds of Paradise was a whiff, but the opponent's kind of whiffing as well, so. We are, let's see, you want to path the freebooter soon. Well, Thalia makes everything a little bit more awkward. But what I can do is wait until their end step next turn, path the freebooter, and then untap and play Worship. Come on, Champion of the Parish. Just did they draw Thalia's Lieutenant? All right, so we just have to stay alive through their next turn because we've got that line where I can path, untap, and play. So I think we're sort of sitting pretty here. Of course, they can draw Deputy, and they're not even attacking like with all their creatures, so maybe they get in with both of these guys. Seems like a good attack. But they know that I'm coming in with Exalted here, so maybe not. Seems hesitant. The opponent's also running out of time. All right, this is excellent. So we're going to go into their next turn with 13 life. Thalia is going to tax us. We need to keep that in mind. So basically now we can play all of our spells. We're going to play Birds. We're going to play a Coatl and then pay for a taxed path on Kitesail Freebooter. So the only thing we need to do right now is play Birds of Paradise. I think I might as well not attack right now. Just doesn't do anything. So unless they draw they drew a land, so we're gonna get Worship back and see it do its thing. It's pretty funny, actually. So now I might just want to get rid of something else, right? Like, this thing's not really bothering me. So let's go ahead and get rid of Meddling Mage, maybe. Or Thalia. mean, this thing has flying, so it's kind of annoying. Yeah, I'll just pass. I'll just path this. So now when I play out one worship, I guess they don't know about the other one, a hand or whatever. I don't know. If I let them keep that freebooter, all right. So Thalia's still around. She's gonna tax us. I'm ahead on time, so there's no worry. And now we could just start taking hits, I think. Like, I'm not blocking anymore. If they want to attack, then I'm going to have my counterattacks. Actually, I get in the air with Exalted, of course. So... even if they draw Deputy here to get rid of Worship right now, it doesn't really seal the deal. I can just do some blocking. Play another Worship. Alright, Mantis Rider. That's okay. Better leave it back as a blocker because attacks aren't doing very much for you right now. It might not quite be GG. I guess, no, it's got Vigilant, so of course they can attack and still have it as a blocker. I don't know that we get through very easily. Next turn for lethal, though. Alright, with Worship, I'm definitely going to crack this. Getting in with a bunch of stuff. I don't know how wise this is. I don't have a lot of actual attackers with powers, though, with power and toughness. So let's see. The thing about this board state is if the opponent rips Deputy, it's just lights out. I'm still attacking with Exalted here. Maybe I'll just get in with the birds. Does it make a difference? Doesn't make a difference, really. This does one more point of damage. I think we should be fine. They can't draw Mantis Rider and Deputy of Detention. Like, I've got a block for their flyer. I've got blocks for the ground. They don't have to block this right now. But they do. Makes me feel even safer than I felt already. So yeah, I don't know what else they have at this point. Like, they're digging for Deputy. It doesn't do anything, though. The opponent's going to scoop, I guess, as soon as they draw the card off Canopy. Because we all know that there's not really any outs here. Like, we can think about what Deputy does, right? I mean, it has to go after Worship. So, if it goes after Worship, they can't attack. Or can they attack? Let's see. Let's say they do attack. Let's say they attack with everybody. I'm at 3. Right, they've got a Deputy sitting there as a blocker. All I have to do is untap. It's a little tricky, right? If they take my Worship, I guess I have to untap and play another Worship. So I just have to not die. So I don't have to like win on the next turn. Let's draw a card and see what I was hitting. That land was a little bit rough, but apart from that, just more creatures. So yeah, they couldn't have killed me. I would have just untapped. Let's see, I would have probably blocked like Blade Splicer in front of Meddling Mage. I like the Hierarchs for Exalted. So maybe one Hierarch would block. Blade Splicer would block. Maybe the Birds gets in front of somebody and I take 2. No, Thalia's Lieutenant would be 3 as well. So basically I have to block everybody. It would be like 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Maybe even the Eternal Witness. It doesn't even matter. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave double Exalted Coatls for like a 2-turn clock, play Worship the next turn, still have 3 creatures on the board. Now they have to draw like running Deputy of Detentions. And they already had 1 exiled, so who knows how many they have in their deck. All right, so that was 4 matches for the evening. I beat Storm. Actually, I just like stomped Storm. It was ridiculous. So I beat Storm, beat Humans, lost to Electro Dominance, but honestly, it was like 1 card like would have swung the entire match, because like one Crashing Footfalls would have been enough. It wouldn't have been enough to beat us at all, but they had like 2 lands, turn 2 Electro Dominance for Crashing Footfalls. That went to the graveyard. Then they cast the next turn the Finale of whatever it's called, Finale of Devastation or something, and they got to cast the Footfalls again. So they had exactly 2 red sources, Electro Dominance, Crashing Footfalls, Finale of Devastation. So like 5 exact cards, and they mulligan to 6. So you can't really be mad about those losses. Like, and for those of you guys who were here for that game, like we actually put up a fight. We had Teferis bouncing their rhinos. We had Coatls trying to get in there with Death Touch. We had like a Path to Exiles with Recursion from Eternal Witness. But in the end, it was just a little bit too much. I don't think... we just couldn't keep up with them. And then the other loss was to Grixis Death Shadow, and they sort of had a nutty hand as well. They had multiple creatures, hand disruption, removal. They just kind of had everything. They didn't flood. They didn't like whiff on creatures, so we couldn't keep up with them. And I think I mulliganed to 5 against Grixis Death Shadow, so 50% on the night. I think I might stick with Blade Splicer, honestly, instead of Time Warp, because the whole theme of this deck, if I show you the list one more time, obviously I've trimmed back on my 2-drops, but by adding an extra Dork and having Teferi and Spell Queller in the deck, it just makes my turns 2 and turn 2 and turn 3 just like that much better. So the 3-drops are just doing so much more. Landing I think I got Blade Splicer down on turn 2 just then against Humans, and it was pretty dominating, right? They had to play their Deputy of Detention, like dealing with my 1/1, and then we were able to path the Deputy. It came back and made another Golem. So I kind of like Blade Splicer. It gets I think that's an example of a game that was won in large part due to Blade Splicer. Like, it can do that if it comes down on turn 2. And I didn't Ephemerate it. I didn't Soul Herder it. It just kind of made a Golem and did Golem things. Yeah. So the Time Warp idea was, if we get a Teferi down and we untap with like an Eternal Witness on the board, if we draw into Time Warp and we have an Ephemerate in the yard or whatever, or in our hand, we can just go off, and if they have removal or counter spells, like Teferi just says no and we just win the game. But I've never really loved Time Warp anyway. From past testing, it's just always felt pretty clunky. So yeah, a lot of 3-drops. Feels pretty good. We didn't get to see a lot of Venser action tonight. We didn't get to see any squirrels tonight, so I apologize for that, guys. The squirrels are one of the more fun aspects of this deck. I played against a guy in two matches back-to-back with Amulet Titan, and both matches we had like 10 zombies against 10 squirrels, and it was like just like a beautiful thing to see. So even if I didn't, have a positive match win percentage or whatever tonight, even 50-50 is sort of fine. We beat 2 powerful decks. We lost to 1 kind of fringe deck in Electro Dominance that I think we're pretty favored against, because Teferi just kind of craps on that deck. Again, they just had like the absolute nuts, so can't be too concerned with that. So I like how it feels. I don't think there's any card that's not really pulling its weight. Compared to Assassin's Trophy in black-green, Path has been feeling fine. It's not like there's been tons of like ensnaring bridges that I have to deal with, and thus have been missing Assassin's Trophy. Not really. Path to Exile is kind of nice because it only costs 1 mana. It's really, really cheap to recur with Eternal Witness. So anyhow, that's the stream for tonight. Thanks very much for joining me, guys. If you're not currently following me, I appreciate it if you would do that on Twitch. it'll give you a little alert next time I am live streaming, and yeah, it just helps a little bit. So I might join you guys again sometime in the middle of the week if I have a few minutes to sit down and stream. Otherwise, Monday night is my regular night around 8:30. And once I reach 5 subscribers, I am going to start streaming a second regular night during the week. So here's hoping I find some new subscribers pretty soon. But until next Monday, have a good week, guys.